It's all about Ahsoka Season 2 and why it has taken so long to make and what it means for the future of Star Wars. It appears that Ahsoka Season 2 may not be released until at least 3 years after the first season. This delay has significant implications for the future of Star Wars. The franchise holds immense value for Disney Plus, with The Mandalorian initially serving as its flagship show. Since then, we've seen a steady stream of new series. Through their quality has varied. Even The Mandalorian had a stumble with its third season. Totally agree. Disney has recently confirmed that Marvel will now produce no more than 2 shows a year to avoid diluting the MCU's brand. Should have done that from the start. I had assumed that Lucasfilm would adopt a similar strategy for its live-action TV shows, with Ahsoka Season 2 being the only confirmed show in early development, starting production soon. However, the latest update suggests otherwise. It now seems that Andor Season 2 might be the last live-action Star Wars series for a while. So what's the situation with Ahsoka Season 2, and what does it mean for the future of Star Wars? What does it mean? What does it mean, folks?
I don't know. What does it mean? I think Stephen is trying to... I've got his name in front of me and I'm still saying it wrong. Fucking hell. I think it's Ryan Stevenson.
Why?
That's a football player, John, that played for Hearts.
Yeah.
That's not Ray Stevenson. I think that's why it's been delayed. We lost Ray Stevenson. There's obviously Bale Skull. He was a massive part of that show. He was... What drew me to the show in the last part was not so much about Ahsoka and even the Sabine character and stuff like that. It was more Balin. There was a sort of charisma and screen presence when this guy was on the screen that just drew me to the show. I was fascinated by the character, his sheer size in him, and obviously his power and the stuff he was doing in terms of manipulation, even his fucking sort of apprentice as well. Shin Hati, that was the name of the character. Kind of weird looking Finnish Ukrainian actress.
She looked absolutely crazy.
She looked mental. She looked like a sort of punk, 80s punk fucking rocker or something with the haircut and whatnot. But he was a large part of what drew me to the actual TV show. And obviously where they were going with him, he was sort of staying on that planet and that was another galaxy, wasn't it? They went to find Thrawn at the end.
Yeah. And
with him passing away, obviously, we've lost that presence, and you have to recast that very carefully. If you've not recast that properly, you've lost a huge part of what made the show entertaining for me, and I'm sure a whole lot of other people. And I mean, Ahsoka's a great character. Rosario does a brilliant job with the character. There's a whole host of other interesting faces in there, but there was a real, I don't know, mystery with this character, what his plan was. And when you lose that actor and you have to recast, I think that's why. I think that's why it's been delayed. I don't think there's anything really deep or complicated about this. I just having to cast this guy with someone of a similar standard.
Season was out, wasn't it? It was last year.
I mean, how do you even begin to recast this guy? Who do you pick?
It's unfortunate, John. It's very sad, obviously, for the actor and his family, first and foremost. And he was such an integral part of that story. And that introduction to that character as well, I was very much like yourself, drawn to Bale Skull. And what is this guy? Where's he come from? I don't know anything about this guy. Obviously, people invest in other sort of Star Wars platforms will know this more than me. But in terms of Ray Stevenson and his presence and his just his sort of presence, connection to these other characters as well, and his relationship with them was very intriguing, you know, and it was just such a sad loss. I think he actually passed away before the series was released as well. So I think you're right. I think it's got a lot to do with obviously the actor passing away and what do they do, because they have to address it, and a recast sadly is what it's going to be in, but it's who's going. We just talked about this previously, John, obviously with Gandalf and recasting and who could take that role on. Maybe not so much in the same sort of level, because he's a new character to live action. He's a new character, a new sort of actor coming into Star Wars as well at that point. But they're going to have to address it. They're going to have to recast. They can't shy away and just forget about this character, because I think, if my memory serves me well, I think the last episode was sort of hinting that we were going to get some sort of backstory to this character in season 2 and where he came from.
There was some weird energy that he was connected to in that place. Also, I think it was Dathomir witches or something, or strange witches that were there.
Those kind of mountain. Was it mountains or cliffs? I can't remember.
Like cliffs, mountains, and then also you had that sort of. I can never say that word, citadel. I always butcher that word. It's not a word I use a lot in everyday language. But also the Star Destroyer comes down into that.
Yeah.
He was drawn to that planet. He had no intention of getting back with Thrawn. He had a purpose there.
Yep.
And sadly, we're not going to get to see, obviously, Rey realising that purpose is Balin, but we're going to get someone else to realise it. And I just feel like the casting is going to be so important.
Yep.
People are saying there's nothing in that performance that no other great actor could do. It's not just about great, fuck Russell Crowe.
Bernard Hill sadly passed away, John, but even before you clicked on that, he was the guy that I was thinking of.
Yeah.
It has to be someone.
Was he?
Well, no, not
It's
really.
not like 6'3".
But in terms of presence, in terms of stature as an actor, it has to be someone like him.
Yeah.
It has to be someone that can carry that character because it's been built up so much. It's going to be very underwhelming if they get someone with less calibre in acting to play this role.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, no.
It wouldn't be
He's
the
a
worst
good
thing,
actor, but he's just, never
John
been,
Reno.
no.
Nah.
Liv Schreiber, I mean, someone said that, but I don't think
He's a good actor, but I don't know.
Has he got that range to be able to play that kind of character? Kurt Russell, fuck no.
It's too familiar, his face.
No.
I just see Kurt Russell, even though Santa Claus
I'm
film.
genuinely, even in that image here, Stephen, I'm seeing Russell Crowe and I'm thinking that's definitely a possibility. I really am. The
we
beard
talk
and
about
everything.
familiar faces. Russell Crowe's got one of the most
He's just a
famous faces.
Unbelievable actor. I mean, I always go back every now and then to that shot where he talks about Ridley Scott on the set of Gladiator and how they were just the perfect match for each other. He told him something about looking at a bird landing in the aftermath of the battle, I think at the start of Gladiator, and how he used to just give it a look and something, and he just told him he'd go into the moment, act it, he acted it, and he's like, we're going to work fucking great together. It was just the way he delivered it. There's something about this guy, it's just unbelievable. I've always loved Russell as an actor.
John,
And his energy as a man, he just does not give a shit.
what do you think about Disney's, or Marvel, I should say,
McTavish is a shout.
have confirmed they're going to just be doing 2 shows per year to obviously avoid diluting the brand.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, this is something they should have done from the very beginning. They did start off that way, as I recall. I think it was perhaps maybe WandaVision, and then I think, did we get, what came after WandaVision?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yeah.
And then there was a bit of a gap, and then it was...
maybe in Loki.
I think it was Loki after that,
Yeah.
But there was a bit of a gap. I think it was only 2 per year at that
Hawkeye
point.
as well.
Hawkeye came out, it was at the end of that year,
It was like December, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all right, Steve, when you had high caliber actors and interesting characters. You're kind of coming hot on the heels off of the Infinity Saga, but it lost momentum quickly.
Yeah.
And there's just, you need to...
I can tell you the point it lost it. It was Doctor Strange too.
Absolutely. Because they were building this whole multiverse.
I had concerns about the multiverse, John.
Yeah,
I
you
said
did,
that.
to be fair.
I said this is going to be
it's
absolutely going to be a cluster of a thing if they don't get this right, and they didn't get it right.
Yeah. You have to be really careful with that kind of stuff, how you're using cameos. It can't just be superfluous shit brought in to appease the fans. There has to be real purpose to
there has to be stakes.
Stuff.
Yeah. There can't be stakes if you can just go, well, we'll bring in another version of him from another...
Yeah.
Fuck off.
That's why I'm glad they've not brought back like a Tony Stark or a fucking Steve Rogers, because you simply can't bring characters of that magnitude back. But they lost momentum, and then it just went to shit. And the stuff they were putting out was just, it was too convoluted. There was ulterior motives in there as well with some of the stories they were trying to present to people. They were force feeding people politics, and I keep saying it. I'm into politics, but not everyone's into politics, and not everyone wants modern day shit injected into their entertainment. Most people go to a theatre or sit down to watch a TV show to get away from real life. They want escapism. They want to forget about the fucking bullshit and all the nonsense. They just want to live vicariously through these sort of characters and the stories. And if you keep force feeding them, it's taking them out.
Yeah.
They lose connection. You lose connection with something like the MCU or Star Wars, you're fucked after that, because it's all about fan interaction and being connected in the hardcore fan base. You can't be splitting them down the middle.
Serving your audience. That's what
you've got to serve the audience. Exactly, Stephen.
That's
you've
the
got
purpose
to
of entertainment.
And Star Wars in particular have alienated half the audience. You can say rightly or wrongly, you can talk about why they've been alienated, but they've alienated the audience, and you're absolutely ghost. You get no chance of making north of $1 billion in movies unless it's something unbelievably special out of nowhere, because half the fan base are disengaged. They don't want anything to do with it. So this is the right choice for sure for Star Wars and Marvel. We go back to low output, high quality output, and try and get people back inside again.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to have success. The best Marvel stuff was the early days, but it was simple storytelling and they were connecting the dots in the post credits. They weren't force feeding you shit in every second fucking month of the year.
But the best Star Wars stuff was always connected to the original trilogy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And not far off it.
That's a problem Star Wars has got though, Stephen.
Yeah, it has to work its way out.
I mean, you have to get out of that rut. I keep getting back to the Skywalker saga.
They tried it, John. They tried it with that late series, going 100 years before the Phantom Menace. There was no. I get what they're trying to do in terms of trying to connect it with perhaps maybe Plagius. I think appeared. I've not seen it, so and obviously
it's been cancelled now.
And it just doesn't work. It's that's fan service. That's we're losing ratings here. Throw in something that they'll like and see if we can get them back on side. And it doesn't work. But Andor's connected directly to the original trilogy. Ahsoka to an extent, obviously through animated stuff from the prequels,
Rebels,
and between
right
prequels and Rebels, and so it's all connected to that original sort of period, and it's where they go if they're going to commit to 2 series per year, whatever it may be. I think we're going to get Andor, and then I think there might be a break, and then we'll get Ahsoka. What comes after that? Because the Mandalorian's done.
Yeah, is it though? I was going to ask that question. What's going on with the Mandalorian? Are we getting another season before this film, or is it right into the film?
I think it'll be right into the film, John.
Because I was going to talk about that, the importance of Ahsoka and why it's so important to Star Wars. It says it there, the future of Star Wars. It is important because they have to get this out, because this is all interconnected with the TV universe. Have been building through the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett to an extent. They're all interconnected, and ultimately you're needing all those characters plus another few big hitters to take down a Thrawn. I genuinely think you need Luke Skywalker to appear again to be able to take Thrawn down. He's that big and that powerful a villain. He's so intelligent. You literally needed Luke in the Thrawn duology to fucking defeat Thrawn. He was so powerful. He had these anti-force things going on, these creatures that cancelled out the force. Yeah. Luke struggled with Thrawn, and Luke was a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
After the original trilogy and the expanded universe, none of these characters, apart from Ahsoka, are anywhere near. I'm looking at this fly, anywhere near is sort of, I don't know, gifted in the Force. John, so how do you defeat Thrawn?
Well, I was going to ask you, you're Kathleen Kennedy, right? I don't know if she'll be in it this long to be in this scenario. Hot off the heels of the Acolyte and the reception that got from the fan base, another flop, another announcement that this film is not working now. That's not happening. We're not getting Ryan Johnson. We're not getting Rey Skywalker. We're not getting.
We're not getting her. No.
I don't know. I'm not saying.
I feel for her. By the way,
I just feel that that's going to be the next announcement. It's good. They don't know what they're doing. This is the problem. What is the next stage after Andor and Ahsoka's? What are they doing? Are they doing the film after that?
Yeah, it's got to be the Mango film, hasn't it? It's got to be the Mandalorian film, because it's the one consistent, good sort of thing they've put out in terms of.
I think they're afraid, John. I really do think Lucasfilm are afraid in terms of where they're going with web series. I don't think after the Acolyte, I don't know what they're going to do. We know we're getting Andor season 2. That's almost done, I think.
We're still getting the Lando TV show with Donald Glover.
It's all went quiet. This is the thing. When they do announce things, you take it with a pinch of salt. It's not a way to run a studio.
Is it not Donald and his brother who were writing? Donald's now doing a sort of farewell thing. I hope with it happens. Gambino.
Yeah, I really do hope it happens, because I love the character Lando. Yeah. I love Donald Glover. I love what he did in the Solo film. In fact, I liked Solo as a film. I thought it was an okay film. But I want to see more of that. But again, they announce things, they cancel things. They announce things, they cancel things. I just think it's a bad way of treating your fans, first and foremost. And it's, if you've not got a plan in place, it's just going to. They've not learnt from that that sequel trilogy, where if they've not got a plan in place, it's going to be an absolute shit show, and they're doing exactly the same with their web series. Because I don't think they're going to branch out and do something like the Acolyte again.
But they have to though. You're saying that you think they're potentially scared or afraid to make a film or something or another TV show. They have to have bravery, and that's ultimately why you need to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. She's not Star Wars minded. I don't know what possessed George to hand the baton over to her. There was so many other people involved who could have done it, who actually understand it. Filoni, Favreau, they are guys that understand Star Wars because they're Star Wars fans that grew up with it, proper Star Wars fans. They understand what makes Star Wars tick and what makes a Star Wars fan excited, and that's what you need. You need guys like that who are going to be brave and produce content.
What do you think goes through George Lucas's head right now?
I think he gives a shit, Steve.
Yeah.
I think he's quite happy to be rid of it. I think he was utterly fed up with Star Wars fandom, constantly criticising them every time he produced something, saying it's not as good as the original trilogy, it's not as good as the original trilogy, this is sacrilege, it's shit. Why are you putting Jar Jar Binks in there? Why are you not Cowtown?
He's key to all this.
Yeah, I know, but why are you not doing everything for us older people? Well, it was never about older people.
Yeah.
Star Wars, when it came out in the 70s, was a fucking space opera with
For
a
kids.
walking dog. It was for fucking children.
Me.
People used to.
Yeah.
When I grew up in the 90s, I watched Star Wars as a kid. Loved it. It stayed with me into my adult years.
And the prequels, John.
And the
You
prequels,
you
they
still a
were
kid,
my
yeah?
era.
Yeah.
And I still have a respect. I was actually thinking about Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Theme music, leaving Geonosis,
Yeah.
going back to Coruscant. One of the best bits of music John Williams has ever fucking produced, and I'll die on that hill. I'm telling you right now that it's unbelievable music. So the prequels still have some sort of place in my heart, even though they're nowhere near as good as the original.
Darth Tyrannus, yeah.
But I don't think he cares, Stephen. I think he's glad to see the back of it. I think he was fed up with people criticising him all the time, and now they've got an even worse sort of caretaker for the franchise. And he's probably laughing into his billions and saying, get it right up every single one of those fucking haters. I'm rich. I've got the Star Wars you wanted now.
Yeah.
Get it round, yees.
Yeah.
Is it shit? Tough titty. I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I'm on the Skywalker Ranch, living my life with my family.
And quite right.
Yeah.
He deserves his break.
Making the kind of films he wants to make, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's those independent ones he went back to.
Deserves his break.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He earned it.
Well, he's
He
retired.
gave us all
I
this.
don't know if he's officially retired, but certainly he's living the life that he should and deserves.
But the final thing I'd say about Star Wars, Stephen, is the issue they've got is that they are just limited to those original trilogy movies being the most successful. They are the gold standard. When you've got a gold standard that came out 40 years ago and everything you've released since is not at that level, you've got a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And they've not got the source material that DC or Marvel have got, where you can go in and have an array of different characters going back 60, 70, 80 years to go and adapt to a TV show or a film. They ain't got that in Star Wars. They're having to create new ones. And there's not enough brilliant minds out there that are radical and original in their thinking that are going to give you radical and original and high quality TV shows. We've got too many absolute airheads who want to thrust political sort of motivated stuff into the entertainment side of things. And it's all got an agenda. And it's just shite.
Yeah, there's no care involved. That's the problem, John.
It's
There's
rubbish.
There's no love or passion for it. It's a box ticking exercise for a lot of these
Star
people.
Wars never ever had space. Sort of lesbian space witches. That was not something that was in Star Wars. And Mark Hamill says it time and again, if you want Luke to be a gay character, he's gay for you. Absolutely fine. You make it up in your head. It doesn't have to be projected right
so
into you. Like
literal,
it's
yeah,
like it
yeah.
doesn't have to be a literal thing that's spoken in the film. You can make the character what you want. It's an open book. You can do anything you want with the character in your mind. But when they start thrusting all this nonsense in, it's just unnecessary. It really is unnecessary. We don't need to know the sexuality of these characters. It's kid-friendly stories first and
Yeah, I
foremost.
mean, if you want them to stink a pish on Act 2, it's up to you.
That's my sister.
Yeah. If that's what you
It's
think.
sitting in the theatre.
Yeah.
Fucking epic moment. Luke Skywalker finally back in the screen for the first time in 30, 40 years, 30 odd years. I bet he's stinking a pish. Thanks for that. You've ruined the moment. And then JJ ruined the moment like 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
By fucking, yeah, exactly.
That's what we're going to do with this topic. But if you've got anything to say in terms of Ahsoka or any of the Lucasfilm brands coming to Disney Plus or the cinema, let us know in the comment section, folks. We'll certainly reply and react to those comments.